Milwaukee did things very differently than you guys. With Charles, what type of perspectives did he bring coming from there that you leaned on, that you learned from? What was the most important shift for you from having him on your staff?
Yeah, I mean, he just had really good perspective. I mean, I think anytime you have a group of coaches that have worked with other great coaches like Bud and have been around other superstars, you just have experiences to pull from. And so he had multiple experiences, successful ones for the most part, some not so, but you're able to just kind of pull, from that different perspective. And so I think he brought that outside of basketball, and then from a basketball perspective, he was able to bring some of that. And really, I think having Charles was a huge help to help Drew in his transition. The fact that those two guys were together, and so that relationship was key for us. So he did a great job of managing that as well.
Was there a basketball philosophy that he helped you see differently, or he helped just see differently?
Yeah, I mean, I think both phases of the game. I mean, he working with Bud and working with three great players. He just had different stuff, whether it was go-to plays, whether it was defensive adjustments. And so I think he's just a well-rounded coach. He can coach both sides of the ball. He can manage relationships, and he has a lot of experiences. So I think that plays a huge part into why he'll be a great coach.
Do you have any update on Kristaps, where he's at in his progression now at this point?
No.
And in terms of the three-point shot, obviously a lot of teams are starting to ramp up their rate this year. Teams are going further and further down that road. How do you feel in terms of the style of the game in the league now? In terms of how many threes teams are shooting? Is there any sort of adjustment you would make if you had any say in it?
No, not really. I mean, I think it just comes down to the guys are getting better. The guys are just good. There's a lot of good players. The skill's getting better. The talent is getting better. Schemes are getting better, and so it's just creating opportunities. So I mean, I think at the end of the day, you're just going to make the highest value decision. Can you make the highest value decision over and over again, and what that looks like? So to me, that's just kind of where it's at.
Joe, the process of bringing Charles on, I mean, you were selfish in that you could have been egotistical or territorial. This is my team, I don't want to bring on, but to do what's best for the team, what went into that process of just kind of getting to know Charles and bringing on such a high ranking?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty easy. I mean, he just, like I said, he was a guy that has just he's been through it, been around it. He's been a champion at the time. He's coached superstars at the time. And he worked for, when you take a guy, you not only take him, you take everything that he's been through. And so he was a part of the team that was really, really successful in Atlanta when Al was there. And so when you take one guy, you get all the experiences. And so to me, it was just a no-brainer. I knew he'd make, our staff better, but I knew he'd make the team better because of, what he's been through and how the Bucks players talked about him. So it was easy.
First time you played Utah, Will Hardy threw a real funky defense adjacent and confused him. Do you expect some wrinkles that you're...
I would expect. I don't know what to expect, but I would expect something. So I think it's just more being ready for that. Will and Charles are a little different in that approach, but just got to be ready to expect anything, really.
What kind of identity? Go ahead.
Drew said that somebody from the Celtics reached out to him when you were considering adding Charles Lee. Did you actually talk to Drew before that hire about Charles and what he would bring?
I can't remember if I did. I'd be lying to you if I can't remember, honestly.
How much diligence did you do talking to Bucks players?
Because we got the timeline. Did we get Charles before Drew?
Yeah, you got Charles.
Yeah, so I didn't talk to Drew. I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, because we got Charles before, yeah.
What kind of style, what kind of identity do you see Charles starting to form with that Charlotte team?
Yeah, I mean, everything's just about, I think, the skill development, the player development, the identity of the team, wanting to be on both ends of the floor. So you see just him putting his mark on that, the energy that he coaches with. So you kind of see, all those things that are there. So I expect him to be really good.
Thank you.
Last question.
Without out, how do you want to see Luke and really kind of contribute?
Yeah, I mean, regardless of who's in, their job is to contribute, even if Al's playing. Their job is to screen. Their job is to communicate our defense, protect the rim, just do all the little things. So, regardless of who's in, their job doesn't change. It's important that they do it. Luke's been good for us. Neemias did a great job at the end of the Indiana game. And regardless of that, they just got to be ready to do their job. It's the most important thing.
Thank you, Joe.